All right, welcome back to Read by Ed. This is my book review of The Captain Class by Sam Walker. I purchased this book about a decade ago when I was working at the University of Houston with the football team. And I was like, man, this Captain Class is really good. We really talked about leadership, player-led leadership and the importance of it. I brought it and then got busy, never had a chance to sit down and read it. So I recently just listened to it on Libby, and wow, Sam Walker, this is a great work. Now, one thing I love about this, Sam Walker in this book, he did a lot of research to get to the captains that were tier 1 captains. He did research looking at the people captains I know. You got Tom Brady, Tim Duncan, Bill Russell, Yogi Berra, Jack Lambert, right? But even some people like Tom Brady, Michael Jordan didn't make it to this captain class, right? Because he had criteria of winning over a sustained period of time. And so I appreciate Sam Walker for the just the science he put behind it and all that. I mean, he did pretty much every sport. He's looking at all decades. It's not a just recent history. He did a really good job doing all that. So here are my 3 takeaways. I got a lot of stuff, so I'm gonna use a card to help me. Takeaway number 1, the most crucial ingredient of a team that achieves and sustains historical greatness is the character of the player that leads it. That is the most crucial ingredient of a team that achieves and sustains historical success, greatness, is the character of the player that leads it. So when you see these teams, it's the character of the player that leads it. And what's pretty awesome is he was talking about these characters and who these leaders were. And like literally the team played like this player, right? This player that was great, this player that was there for the sustained success. He talked about Bill Russell and one of the greatest plays ever made in NBA history when he ran all the way across the court and blocked a shot, sending the game into overtime or game 7 or whatever it may be, but really changing the history of the Celtics and how he was not only a player, but a player coach, and how he just literally through his leadership helped create one of the first dynasties in the NBA and maybe possibly in sports. And so he talked about that. The second takeaway is these captains. So you may be sitting there saying, well, what are the character of these captains? I got you. This is my takeaway number 2. Tier 1 captains, they weren't super talented. They didn't like the limelight. Most led in subservient roles. They had an edge. They did divisive things. They weren't your usual subjects, right? So these captains kind of all fell in there. The one captain that kind of fell out of that, who was actually super talented, probably the best athlete pound for pound in their sport out of all these, was Tim Duncan. And so Tim Duncan made this, and it was interesting because even though he was super talented, Tim Duncan could have dropped 40 points a night, but he wouldn't do that. He always put the team first. He didn't want to get the limelight. He didn't want to do all this, right? He didn't want it all on him. And it talked about how he was him, how he would come and he would talk to players. He had looks, stares, he would bump, high fives, different things like that. And he would do the things and he would push players, right? Different things like that. And so it's pretty interesting, that breakdown of Tim Duncan as tier 1 captain, but those characteristics are awesome. And then the last takeaway, and this would hurt me because I'm a coach, but it said that coach's impact isn't as dramatic as we think. A coach's impact isn't as dramatic to the success as we think. And that would hurt me as a coach. I was like, oh no. But he has studies to show that normally when players go to different teams, their stats don't fully go far away. Their stats are pretty much the same. And so there are things like that. Now, those coaches who are tier 1 coaches have a tier 1 captain, and they work together through that captain, and that captain has a proximity to the players while bringing the message of the coaches. Now, as a coach, he didn't say that coaches don't have an impact. Coaches do have an impact, but it may not be as dramatic based off the data as we think it do. Coaches, I know on my side it was hard for me to hear because I have seen coaches change around programs, but I also have seen when coaches change around programs, to his point, there is a captain, there is someone there that helps with that. But one thing that was kind of disheartening, is not a takeaway, but we're moving to captainless sports, right? Captainless sports is because people want to give the captain to, and I had this conversation with a couple of my friends. You draft a rookie quarterback. The quarterback has to be a captain, right? Your highest paid player, they have to be a captain. So we're moving away from this because we don't want to offend the superstars. But in this book, the captains were the people who were the captains. And a lot of superstars, he talked about a captain of Brazil, how there was one captain of Brazil soccer team. And Pele was like, I do not want that cat. He needs to be the captain, right? And it talked about how it doesn't always have to go to the best player. So that was pretty interesting that we're moving away from that because some are afraid to offend a superstar or whatever it may be. But there's data that shows, there's a lot of data that shows if you want success and all that, the main ingredient is the character of the player that leads the team. Sam Walker, thank you for this work. YouTube says that this is a video of mine, a book review that would be great for you. Go out and read.